The Philadelphia Eagles may be on the verge of shaking up the entire NFL. A new report has finally linked the team to superstar pass rusher Trey Hendrickson. And while this has been a subject of speculation for weeks, the latest update makes the possibility feel very real. The idea of Hendrickson landing in Philly isn't just a fantasy anymore. It's on the radar, and it's gaining steam. For a team still trying to iron out some flaws mid-season, adding a player of Hendrickson's caliber would be a massive power move. But the story doesn't stop there. As the Eagles gear up for their Week 7 clash against the Minnesota Vikings, the buzz in the locker room is that things are trending in the right direction. After an embarrassing performance against the Giants, the team is coming off a mini-bye week, and the internal vibe seems to have shifted. Whether that turns into a dominant bounce-back performance on Sunday remains to be seen, but one thing is clear: there's renewed confidence in the building. The players are speaking with more intent. There's a sense of accountability that wasn't as obvious a week ago. Multiple voices inside the locker room have echoed a similar message. It's time to clean things up and execute. Yes, there were coaching issues. Yes, the play calling hasn't been perfect. But the players know it goes beyond that. The energy feels different now, like everyone finally understands that enough is enough. It's not just about pointing fingers anymore. It's about doing your job. Every snap, every play, no excuses. That's the message that keeps getting repeated, not just in press conferences, but behind closed doors. The Eagles have been inches away from executing on big plays, and the film has shown that. A missed block here, a blown assignment there. Those are the moments that have been costing them games. But the tone has shifted. You can hear it in the way guys talk. They're not running from the criticism. They're embracing it. They're using it. And it's not just about the vibe. The Vikings present a real challenge, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Brian Flores has them playing disciplined, fast, and aggressive football. They're one of the best defenses in the league when it comes to defending the pass, currently ranked second in that department. They're also top 10 in total yards allowed and scoring defense. On top of that, they're forcing turnovers at an elite rate, averaging 3 takeaways per game when they're at home. The Eagles' offense cannot afford to be sloppy. That means protecting the football, avoiding unnecessary risks, and finding ways to beat Minnesota's heavy dose of zone coverage, something that has given Philadelphia's offense serious problems all year. One of the more interesting wrinkles heading into this game is the return of former Eagles cornerback Isaiah Rodgers, who has become a star in Minnesota. His breakout game against the Bengals was historic, with a pick six, 2 fumble recoveries, a defensive touchdown, and a performance that earned the highest single-game grade ever recorded by Pro Football Focus. That's not normal. That's elite-level play. And it's hard to ignore the fact that the Eagles let him walk in free agency. What's even more frustrating for fans is the recent report suggesting Philadelphia actually wanted to keep him, even tried to re-sign him, but never got the chance to make an offer. According to the report, Rodgers and his camp agreed to terms with the Vikings before the official free agency window even opened. But Rodgers himself clapped back at that report, calling it fake and reminding fans not to believe everything they read. And honestly, his love for the city and the team was always obvious. From day one, he seemed fully committed to Philly, even after he left. That tells you everything you need to know. But regardless of how that played out, what matters now is that the Eagles will be facing off against a guy they probably should have kept. That's a tough pill to swallow, especially considering their recent struggles at the cornerback position. Rodgers is playing at an all-pro level. Meanwhile, the Eagles' secondary has been up and down, plagued by inconsistency and mental errors. And while the front office has done a solid job overall, this might go down as a rare misstep for Howie Roseman, a big one at that. Still, the defense has a chance to redeem itself in this matchup. But for that to happen, the run game has to come alive. It's been a weak spot all season. The Eagles have not been able to consistently establish the ground attack, and that lack of balance has put too much pressure on the passing game. But the Vikings' defense, as dominant as they've been against the pass, ranks near the bottom of the league against the run. That's the weakness. That's where the Eagles have to strike. If they can finally get their run game going, not only can they control the clock, but they can open up the rest of the offense. Players have said they're close. One block away. One adjustment from breaking something big. And this week feels like it's being treated as a turning point. The message is clear. It's time to dominate on the ground. Now, flipping to the Vikings side of the ball, the quarterback situation is still a mystery, or at least it was. J.J. McCarthy has been nursing an ankle injury and hasn't looked 100% in practice. Meanwhile, Carson Wentz, the former second overall pick of the Eagles, has been trending toward getting the start. And if he does, it'll mark the first time he's facing his old team as a starter since leaving Philadelphia. That adds a ton of emotion to an already intense matchup. Wentz has played it cool publicly, saying this feels like just another game and that he doesn't really recognize many faces on the Eagles' defense anymore. Still, this is a guy who had his career launched in Philly, won a Super Bowl ring, albeit injured, and went through a roller coaster of highs and lows with the organization. Whether he admits it or not, this one's personal. He talked about the growth he experienced while in Philadelphia, how he got married, started a family, became a man. And despite how things ended, it's clear he holds no ill will. But don't let the calm demeanor fool you. This game means something to him. And for Eagles fans, seeing him line up under center in purple is going to feel strange. For years, he was the face of the franchise. Now, he's potentially standing in the way of their season turning around. And speaking of key players, Jalen Carter gave everyone a scare when he missed the last game due to injury, but he's now confirmed that he will be playing on Sunday. That's huge news. Carter has been a force on the defensive line when healthy, and his presence changes the entire complexion of the Eagles' front seven. He draws attention, creates pressure, and allows other guys to make plays. That said, not everyone is satisfied with what Carter has brought to the table this year. In fact, he was recently called out by a respected NFL analyst who didn't mince words, saying Carter has been out of shape and ineffective. The critique was harsh, maybe a little too harsh, but it underscores the expectation that was placed on Carter coming into the season. He was supposed to be a game changer. So far, he's had moments, but he hasn't quite lived up to the hype. Injuries have played a role, no doubt. Carter admitted that he's been dealing with lingering pain since the start of training camp, and that he wasn't fully right last week either. But if he's feeling better now, and he says he is, then this week is his opportunity to silence the critics and remind everyone why he was such a coveted pick in the first place. The Eagles desperately need a spark on defense, especially when it comes to containing mobile quarterbacks. That's been a weakness all season long, and Carter acknowledged it himself. Keeping the opposing quarterback in the pocket and eliminating scramble plays is going to be a major focus in practice, and Carter knows he has to be part of the solution. But let's circle back to Trey Hendrickson, because this might be the biggest story of all. For weeks, there's been nothing more than speculation linking the Eagles to the Bengals' pass rusher. But now, there's real smoke. A report has confirmed that Philadelphia is one of the teams expected to pursue him before the trade deadline, along with a few other contenders. And that's not just an idle rumor. That's something worth paying attention to. Hendrickson would be a game-changing addition for this defense. He's explosive, experienced, and capable of taking over a game. The question is, what would it take to get him? It's hard to say. The price tag won't be cheap, especially if other teams like the 49ers and Cowboys are also in the mix. The Eagles would have to be aggressive and potentially overpay to make it happen. But if they view this season as a championship window, then the move might make sense. Hendrickson is currently on a one-year deal, so there's also the question of whether Philly would want to extend him or just treat this as a rental. Either way, the interest is real now. And with the team already stacked with talent, the addition of another top-tier edge rusher could take them over the top. In the meantime, the injury report has delivered some mixed news. Jalen Carter, who was a full participant on Wednesday, was downgraded to limited on Thursday, which might be precautionary. But he insists he'll play, and there's no reason to doubt that right now. Meanwhile, cornerback Quinny Mitchell has been upgraded to full participation, another encouraging sign as the Eagles prepare for what could be a make-or-break game. With so much on the line and momentum beginning to tilt back in their favor, the Eagles are heading into this matchup with something to prove. And it's not just about getting a win on the road. It's about re-establishing their identity. This team came into the season with high expectations, both internally and externally. They were supposed to be dominant, especially in the trenches. The offensive line was supposed to be elite. The defensive front, loaded with young talent and veteran leadership, was expected to wreak havoc. And yet, here they are in Week 7, still searching for consistency, still trying to live up to what they know they can be. This isn't a team lacking in talent. It's a team that's been lacking in execution. That's what the players are saying. That's what the coaches are saying. And that's what the film is showing. And that's why this game against the Vikings feels like a potential turning point. It's a chance to reset. A chance to prove that the mini-bye wasn't just a break. It was a moment of clarity. A moment to fix what's been broken. And that starts with attention to detail. From the opening whistle, the Eagles need to show they're ready to play with urgency and discipline. Every missed tackle, every blown coverage, every false start. Those are the small cracks that have become massive problems in the middle of games. Those are the habits that have to change. And against a team like Minnesota, which thrives on capitalizing off mistakes, there's no margin for error. The biggest area where this team needs to flip the script is the offense. Yes, the passing game has flashed at times, especially with weapons like A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith. But it hasn't been consistent. Too often, drives stall because of mental mistakes or questionable play calling. And when you're facing a defense that lives in zone coverage and takes the ball away at a high rate, every decision matters. The Eagles have to be patient and take what's given to them. They can't force throws downfield into tight windows. They need to lean on short and intermediate routes, attack the soft spots in the zone, and move the chains with rhythm. That's where Jalen Hurts has to take command. He needs to manage the game, stay poised, and protect the football. Turnovers in this matchup will be deadly. But again, none of that will matter if the Eagles can't run the ball. That has to be the foundation. It has to be the priority. And so far this year, it simply hasn't been good enough. Whether it's poor blocking, missed assignments, or just a lack of creativity in the play design, the run game has not been a reliable weapon. But this week could be different. This week, there's a sense that the ground attack might finally click. The Vikings' defense has been vulnerable against the run all season, and that's something Philadelphia needs to exploit. Pound the ball. Establish physicality. Set the tone. That's what will open up play action, give Hurts more time in the pocket, and help the entire offense settle in. FlyEaglesFly News family, smash subscribe and hit like. Your support keeps the freshest Philadelphia Eagles updates flying in. Drop your take in the comments, and let's talk birds. Philadelphia Eagles fans are in full panic mode as whispers from league insiders suggest that star wide receiver A.J. Brown may not be with the team for much longer. The rumor mill is swirling after what sources describe as tense front office meetings and frustration over contract discussions, leaving many to wonder. Could one of the league's most explosive receivers be on the verge of departure? Brown, who has become a household name thanks to his jaw-dropping catches and game-changing plays, has been a cornerstone of the Eagles' offense. Yet, in recent days, chatter among agents and NFL insiders hints that the veteran receiver's future in Philly is suddenly uncertain. While neither the team nor Brown's representatives have made any public statements, the sense of urgency is palpable in the locker room and among fans. The speculation centers on a few possible scenarios. Some insiders believe the Eagles may be considering trading Brown to free up cap space or to acquire draft picks, particularly if negotiations over a contract extension hit a dead end. Others suggest that Brown himself might be exploring options elsewhere, seeking a deal that reflects his rising status in the league and his undeniable impact on the field. The timing of these rumors is also raising eyebrows. With training camp approaching and the regular season just around the corner, any move involving Brown would send shockwaves through the NFC East. The Eagles have a deep roster, but few players carry the kind of dynamic presence that Brown brings every time he steps on the field. Losing him would force quarterback Jalen Hurts and offensive coordinator to rethink the entire offensive game plan. Of course, rumors in the NFL are nothing new, and the Brown story is still unfolding. Fans are left glued to social media, dissecting every cryptic comment from team executives and trying to read between the lines. If this buzz proves true, the Eagles could be facing one of the most significant shakeups in recent memory. For now, all eyes remain on Philadelphia, as whispers of A.J. Brown's potential departure turn into a full-blown storm. Eagles Nation is holding its breath, because if the rumors are real, nothing on the field next season will look the same. That's a wrap from FlyEaglesFly News. If you want the fastest Eagles updates, subscribe, drop a like, and turn on the bell. Sound off in the comments. Let's talk birds.